Hi, I'm Ruthie, owner of Defy the Status Quo, and you're listening to an episode of the Defiant Business Podcast, your 10-minute daily dose of business knowledge. So let's jump into it. Today, we're going to talk about marketing your blog for more business. So, not just marketing your blog, which you've probably come across a lot of information about that, but marketing it for more business. So, a lot of the tactics that you typically hear about are great for people who sell things like courses or ebooks. So you may have ignored them, right? Like you maybe didn't pay attention to them because you're like, oh, I sell products. I have a brick and mortar store, or maybe I just have an online store. Maybe I sell services. I'm an accountant or a financial advisor or something like that. So you ignored them because you didn't feel like they were relevant to you. And that's fine because you weren't their target audience anyway. But what I'm asking you to do next time you start to come across things like that, pay attention to those suggestions that are made within that, blog post or whatever you find, and then foot script because you can take those tactics to stand out in your space. It's always the people who are doing something different or innovative that get the most attention. And this is especially good for those business owners who feel like they do something boring. Okay. So I'm going to focus on one particular tactic that I really like in terms of using your blog to get more business. And that is guest blogging or guest posting. So to me, this kind of equates with the new trend that people or that businesses are using, which is hosting events in their spaces after hours or when they're typically closed. So, an example of this is a networking event I attended recently at a co working space called Spark Baltimore. Startup Grind Baltimore was hosting or was putting on an event, and Spark Baltimore was the space that hosted it. As a result, I was already in Baltimore. So what I did was I bought a day pass and I got to see the space and everything. And, if I start to regularly work up in Baltimore or see clients in Baltimore, Spark Baltimore is going to be the place that I stop. So it was a really good move for them and it worked out well. And of course, I've had nothing but good things to say about Spark Baltimore since then. So there's two ways to go about it. The first one is that you allow people to guest post. So in this way, I think it's kind of like, especially if you have a local store, although if you niche down enough online, you can find the small communities and take advantage of that too, that there's these small online communities that have developed. But when you allow people to guest post on your blog, you're not just getting content, you're also getting their audience because they're, of course, going to share it with that audience. And what that does is it gets people to visit your site who might not have visited before. So I'm going to present a couple of examples of this. So for B2C, let's say you sell fitness clothing products, whether you own a brick and mortar store or you do online. You might reach out to fitness professionals in your area, and even if you're online, leveraging local connections is really good. It draws you into the community. I feel like purely online businesses get out of a local mindset, and you can still take advantage of your local space, right? So let's say you sell fitness clothing and you reach out to fitness professionals and nutrition professionals in your area to guest post on your site. So now you're getting, expertise that maybe it would have taken you longer to research or write. And you're also getting those people's audiences. Not to mention, you're building relationships with local professionals in your area, which means that they may refer you. And so that's always a really important aspect to consider as well. In your business development that's basically what business development means, is the strategic development of partnerships. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, B2B. Let's say you run a 3PL warehouse. 3PL stands for third party logistics. And what that typically means is that you own and run a warehouse, or you rent a warehouse and you manage the orders and shipping of other businesses. So that's why you're a third party. So, what if you turned your blog space into a place where B2B manufacturers can come and post relevant content that will be relevant to your audience? So, maybe blog posts like the struggles that B2B manufacturers face right now. Direct to consumer, is that a route you should consider? Let's see, 3PLs, pros and cons. Like those are sorts of things you could allow other industry professionals to post on your website website. And again, they're going to share with their audience and it's going to spread. And you can also share it as like you're promoting content from your blog, but you're also building relationships with people in your industry and related industries. So again, it kind of ties back to that relationship building, but you're also still getting site traffic. If your blog is new, you're still not going to see a whole bunch of site traffic, but you're using your blog in a strategic way to develop relationships, which lead to more business. So don't forget, you can also guest post as well, but you want to come at it with a very strategic plan. Like, why would you guest post for this person? For SEO purposes, it gets a link back to your website, so that's always nice. And then again, the site that you're guest posting for will share it, and you'll get new audience members. They click if they're curious about you, they'll click and go onto your website. You want to get creative, and if you're pitching an idea versus like, hey, business friend, can I post on your website? If you're pitching to a website that's never heard from you or heard about you before, then you want to create a media kit, which is not super hard to do. You can do it in a program like Canva or Stencil, or if you have a graphic designer on staff, then you could always have them do something for you as well. Whether you're guest posting or having people, or you're allowing guest posters onto your blog, there's a couple things to understand. So for many of us, who are interested in this guest posting angle either way, we often do it for free. Now, you have to be careful, because if you approach professional writers, they may come back with, oh, you're trying to get me to do free work. Now, that is a perfectly valid perspective, because it happens to writers all the time. But me as a writer, when I had an opportunity to guest post for Ceresys, which is a transportation management system company, that was great for me because I do a lot of writing in the supply chain industry. I did not charge them for that blog post, but it was great for me in terms of getting my name out there and building credibility and getting website traffic. I got website traffic from that guest post, and I still do. But like I said, I had other reasons for that. It was part of my own marketing strategy. So keep that in mind. Just be very upfront. Don't dig in too deep about guest posting without getting clear on, hey, so am I paying you for this? Am I not paying you for this? Now, it's not to say that somebody asking for payment is that's bad. It's just you want to make sure that you start out with equal expectations. And then the other thing that you can do on your side, if you're guest posting, you want to make sure that you have a plan to promote it, and let the person know, like, hey, I can promote it. And that could be part of your media kit, but I can promote it to my audience, and I'll promote it, multiple times. And this is my strategy. And if you're inviting guest posters on, you want to make it clear why it would be valuable for them to post on your website. And again, sharing your promotion strategy, you could reference that content repurposing podcast from the other day. You can share that with them and show them that you're going to consistently promote it to your own audience, and that it will continue to be out there and help them with whatever marketing goals that they have. But understand that guest posting, whether you are guest posting or someone is guest posting on your site, is about give and take. It's a relationship. And when you use this particular tactic for marketing your blog for more business, it's also about relationship building. So don't just guest post and never share, or guest post, share, and then never talk to that person again. You want to follow up. There may be additional opportunities for you. Maybe you can, come to some of their events or speak at their events, or maybe they'd want to do a video interview with you. Is there a podcast? So you can see how it can kind of grow, and you can get more exposure from doing things like guest posting. So there are other pitfalls and things which we will definitely go into in another episode. But that's it for today. So this is Ruthie with Defy the Status Quo, and you've listened to an episode of the Defiant Business Podcast. I will catch you again next time.